Okay, for this particular video, I will be showing what's in the box of the MVH AV290BT unit, what's in the box and the kind of tools and materials you'd need. I'll start off with the obvious screws to hold it in the dash kit. You got the USB port right here. You have the mic. You have the wiring harness that plugs into the factory stereo. That's the model number, part number, whichever you want to call it. The dash kit that you need is this one, part number right there. And the obvious, the radio is right here. I do apologize for all the mess. I have been working almost non-stop every weekend, so I'm just trying to catch up on my installs. But I will go ahead and wire up the stereo to the wiring harness and kind of show you what it looks like. If you do not have access to a soldering iron, you can use butt connectors with a crimper. That works perfectly fine. I prefer to solder everything that I wire up. But ultimately, that's all the parts and tools that you would need. I'll go ahead and wire everything up and show you the end result. So I have the wiring harness and the radio harness all wired up. As you can see, every wire is soldered together. It's pretty much color coded. I would suggest to hook up the blue with a white stripe, which is the amp turn on, to the blue of the wiring harness, which is this one right here. It jumps to power antenna and the factory amp. That will turn on if it's equipped with a factory amp and the power antenna all together. But as you can see, that's kind of what it looks like. The secondary tape that you see is what's called a Tessa tape, which is what manufacturers and car manufacturers use to wire up their harnesses with. It's TESA, Tessa tape. You can get that anywhere online. That's kind of what it looks like. Okay, here we are inside the 2011 Scion TC. To get the radio removed, the only thing you will need is one of these plastic removal tool and a 10mm socket. If you don't have a drill or impact, that's fine too. Use a normal socket. To get the radio out, just go ahead and pop this piece right here. Sometimes you can kind of just pull it up a little bit. Maybe I won't need the tool. I would use it on this corner. This one. Let's see that. There we go. And make sure you remove the plug that's in the back. Sorry, I'm using this with one hand. My wife is using the phone stand. Once you get that out, that's what it looked like. Just go ahead and put it aside so you don't accidentally step on it. I always make sure there's no CD inside. There is none. Just to be safe. After all, once you get everything out, as you can see, it still has a CD in there, so that's a good thing. Just take that out, triple check. Once you get that out, just go ahead and take out the 10mm. It's one. Make sure you put that aside. Make sure you don't lose any of these bolts. Let's see, let's put it right here. And once you get that out, just go ahead and slowly pull it. And just go ahead and unplug all of these plugs. And we'll go ahead and plug our wiring harness to it. And that should be all we need for the wiring harness. So I got everything removed. I did find this add-on, which to me it looks like a Bluetooth module. Obviously it looks like blue logic ECU, so I would say it's a Bluetooth. It was teed in between the radio, so it looks like it was a optional add-on. So what I did was I did test it with it. It worked, but the factory Bluetooth and all that doesn't work, so I just unplugged it from where they teed it, and pretty much is the same exact thing. Plug your wiring harness to this one, and then that one. Now yours may not have this, but this particular one have it. I'm not quite sure why, but it does have it. But like I said, I just ended up removing it, and that's kind of what it should look like. Got the power antenna. These will be zip tied to a harness, that way it's not on the way. That pretty much takes care of everything. Okay, once you get the radio out, you will utilize the factory bracket, so you're gonna have to take both sides off, and it'll be incorporated with the aftermarket dash kit that you purchased. I'll go ahead and take both of these brackets off and assemble everything so you can see what it looks like. Okay, for this particular one, the instruction shows that you have to take off, actually cut a slit from here to the bottom right here, so it's kind of like a slant. All you're basically doing is getting rid of this extra hole spot. That way the factory bracket would slide in without an issue. I'll go ahead and cut it off and show you what it looks like. Okay, once you have that extra circle or extra screw hole piece cut, that's kind of what it looks like. The plastic piece sits on top of the bracket, and everything just kind of lines up, so try to use at least 3 screws to hold it down and secure everything. Do it to both sides and you're good. Alright, I'm running the Bluetooth mic. It's actually not secured or sticked on yet, but I just kind of wanted to show you how I ran it. All I did was pop off this little bezel a little bit, that way the wires can run behind. It just slips on to that little pocket, and I went ahead and secured it to a wiring harness right here, that way it doesn't dangle around, and have everything ready. So you'll have the mic port, the USB port, which I just kind of ran right here, right behind the glove box. So you'll see all the opening, not too bad. Pretty much everything is ready to go in. Okay, before you guys put everything back, just go ahead and test it out. You got sound.
New music. She'll be joining us in Vegas.
You got everything tested out. Go ahead and put everything back, and you are done. So everything is complete. That's kind of what it looks like once it's all installed. The mic sitting on the very middle. That way it'll pick up the voice pretty clear. So overall, it's not too bad of an install. So hopefully you guys don't have any issues. If you do, please leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. So hopefully you guys get it done.